Well, good morning everybody. I'm Paul Rowe. I'm sitting in my story shed out here at Dubbo in the middle of New South Wales, and I guess I've heard that you're scattered all over the centre of New South Wales, across New South Wales too. So it's nice to be able to talk to you and share a little bit this morning. I hope we get to meet each other in a few weeks' time down in Sydney. I had a group of men, young men here sitting in this shed a couple of nights ago, all apprentices, in two ways. One was they're apprentices doing plumbing and electrical work and things like that, but they're also apprentices of following Jesus. They want to follow Jesus. They want to make their lives count. So it was great to sit here with young men wanting to grow and learn about Jesus. And one of the things we talked about was God's big picture. You know, one of the young lads said to me a few weeks ago, I just don't know the big picture. I don't know how the Bible all fits together. And that presses my buttons because I'm a historian. And I love to tell the stories of how the whole big picture comes together and how you and I, we're a part of it. And there's a bit in the New Testament, in the book called Hebrews, or the letter to Jewish Christians, and the young person wrote it, I think he's young, and he's excited about what he calls it, the whole big picture of Israel and all his heroes. And he lists all the heroes from Abraham on, and these people of faith who did amazing things. And by the end, he's pretty excited. He said, I haven't got time to talk about them all, but the good news is they're waiting for us. The story's not finished yet. It began back there, but now we're down here and we've got a part to play in it. Listen to what he says. Not one of these people, even though their lives of faith were exemplary, got their hands on what God promised. God had a better plan for us, that their faith and our faith might come together. And then he says this, do you see what this means? All these pioneers who blazed the way, all these veterans cheering us on. It means we'd better get on with it. Strip down, start running, never quit. No extra spiritual fat, no parasitic sins. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race we're in. Study how he did it. And I want you young people to become students of studying the life of Jesus, maybe for the rest of your life, because he's the greatest man who's ever lived. He's the greatest leader in history. More people follow him than anybody else. He must have something. So you need to study his life, really get close and see what he did. There's so many great stories. And it says here, think of him putting up with the cross, the shame, all the hardships. And now he's sitting, he's in a place of honour. And when you find yourself flagging or running out of steam in the race, go over that story again, item by item, that long list of hostility that he ploughed through, and that will shoot adrenaline into your souls. I like that. You want to get energised. Sometimes we run out of energy, and sometimes it's hard yards in the Christian faith. And people go through some very, very hard things. And what do? Well, this guy says, you know, study Jesus. Go into his life, item by item. Think about him. The other morning I was reading the story of Jesus. At the end of his ministry, he's had 3 years in Israel. He's been preaching, teaching, doing miracles everywhere, covered all the villages and towns in the whole country. And now he's come all the way down from the north of Israel, and he's come down to Jerusalem, to headquarters there, to the big temple in Jerusalem. And he's confronted the leaders there who he thinks are corrupt. They're not doing the right thing by God's people. And he's challenging them day after day after day. And they're coming back with hostility and they're planning to kill him. Well, the Passover comes, the big feast where Israel celebrates the great victory when God led his people out of Egypt 1,300 years before Jesus, through the desert to Canaan to become the people of Israel. And they've been waiting. Every year they celebrate this little feast, the Passover. And they remember that day, and they're thinking another big deliverance is going to come. There's going to be a great rescuer like Moses who's going to come and rescue us, and this time from under the hand of the Romans, and set us free. Jesus has had a little feast with his disciples, and sadly, tragically, at the end of 3 years of pouring his life into them, he says to them, you know, you're all going to run away and leave me. They're coming to get me. they're going to take me away and they're going to try me and kill me. And you're all going to leave me. Peter, I know you're a good bloke, but you're going to actually deny me. And he also knows that Judas, one of his 12, has gone out the back door and betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. They're in the Garden of Gethsemane on the edge of Jerusalem, just between the Mount of Olives and the big temple. It's night time. Through the trees, through the olive trees, comes a band of soldiers, a big mob actually, carrying clubs and swords and torches, coming to arrest him. And Jesus steps forward to meet them. His friends are getting ready to run already. And it's really sad, isn't it, to think all that Jesus had done was good. And here's this group of men coming to take him away. Hostility, anger, betrayal, desertion. How would Jesus have felt? Must have been so hard to watch his friends running away through the dark, through the trees, to see his friend Judas coming towards him to betray him. That's hard. That's tough. Well, before they ran, Peter took one last swing. He had a sword. He took a swing and he took the ear off one of the high priest's servants, a guy called Malchus. And in that moment, you know, studying Jesus and how he reacts to tough times, think about this. He's the Lord of the universe. You know, he's made the whole thing. He's come to rescue the human race. And now he's in this terrible position in the dark with all these terrible things happening to him. And he takes a moment to reach out and touch that bloke's ear, to bring it back, to heal it, you know. What does that tell you about Jesus? What does it tell you about his Father in heaven? About their heart? What really touches them? I think that's beautiful, don't you? With all that negativity around him, he's got time to reach out and touch one of his enemies on the ear to heal his ear. And that bloke Malchus, I reckon ever after that, whenever he touched his ear, he must have remembered that moment when Jesus reached out in the dark and healed him. What does that tell you about him? When you go through hard times, you feel like you're alone and people have deserted you and it's tough, think about Jesus. Remember, he wants to give you the courage to face up and even to reach out and help an enemy, help somebody else so you forget yourself. Think about somebody else and that'll shoot adrenaline into your soul. That'll give you a lift to think about Jesus. I hope you become lifelong students of the life of Jesus, because if you do that, that'll give you strength and courage and the right way of going about things. It'll lift you again and again and again. And I can say that from a lifetime of experience of studying the life of Jesus. I hope I meet you in a few weeks' time and get to know you, and we can talk some more. So God bless you.